Hey guys, I'm here to discuss some books that I've read so far in 2017. Well, the light is really harsh right now. It's early morning. It's not that early. This is my first opportunity to film in like weeks. I was really sick for a while and couldn't film, and I'm still kind of congested. I've been so busy with work and I'm so tired. But I have been reading and I've been doing not too bad. So I don't know how many of these books we'll get through, but I have read 6 so far this year. So the first book that I read this year was Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. Really beautiful cover, really nice book, really nice on the outside. This book is kind of like a Middle Eastern fantasy meets spaghetti western, and at first I thought, ooh, that could sound cool, but it kind of didn't work. Like it was weird. There was like insta love happening in this book, which it didn't really go full on romance, but it kind of was kind of forced and annoying. And the characters didn't seem to have much personality. Everything that happened was always so convenient, and like sometimes the characters' their story didn't match up with what like they were trying to tell you. Like one of the characters takes the other character way into the desert, the opposite direction that she wants to go, and brings her into this kind of, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but brings her to this place and these people, and then after things start going wrong, he tells her, oh, I never wanted to bring you into this. Then why did you trick her into going across the desert in the opposite direction that she wanted to go? It was really frustrating. Insta-lovey, like I said, one-dimensional characters. I felt like the world was the one really interesting. Like, it's kind of like a Middle Eastern fantasy. That's so cool. I've never read anything like that. But it didn't expand on the world really at all. It was just kind of this weird, like, rebellion, like, drama, like, thing. I don't even know. I don't like talking so negatively about books unless it's a book I really hated, which I didn't hate this, I just didn't like it. It was just like, eh. Switching Lanes completely, a book that I absolutely loved. The Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. Oh my gosh, this was so good. It was so good. This is basically, it's set in the future where like the United States has now been split into like a bunch of territories. There's this one city where this phenomenon is happening that every time somebody commits a crime, their like crime manifests into like a physical monster. So, and depending on the severity of the crime depends on the type of monster it is, you know, how human seeming they are versus how like monstrous they are. And it follows a boy named August who is a monster, who just wants to be human. He just wants to be normal and be peaceful. And it also follows this girl, Kate Harker, who is the daughter of this like tyrannical guy who runs the one side of the city. The city's kind of warring. So he runs one side, and then August's adoptive parents kind of are in charge of the other half of the city. The characters were so well developed and so interesting, and they had such great backstory, and there was just these little nuggets of information about their life spread throughout, which was just delicious. It was so good. It was so good. The world was really interesting, and I mean, we don't know too much about like what is going on in the, you know, what used to be the United States. All of the interactions and the relationship that the characters have with each other was really dynamic, and they were all really interesting, and I freaking loved it, and I can't wait for the sequel, which is coming out in June, which I believe this is only going to be a duology. Towards the end of January, I participated in the Diversathon, which I made a TBR video for, but not a wrap-up, because by the time the Diversathon ended, I was really sick and was not in a state to be making videos, so I'm just going to talk about those books now, because I didn't get to make a wrap-up. But I did read 2 books and a speech, and they weren't all completely the books that I thought I was going to read, but they were really good. The first one, which was kind of also the group book, most people read this I think, was The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead, which I thought perfect because I just bought this book recently, and I was like, now I'm gonna read it. This book was really raw. It was more of a history lesson than like a fiction novel. Like, you follow this main character who's a girl named Cora, who's a slave in Georgia, and she kind of is your eyes and ears through telling the story of slavery in the South. But it's more so, you know, it's a telling of history. It's a little bit alternate, where the Underground Railroad is actually an underground railroad. I really enjoyed it. It was really eye-opening for me because I didn't know a lot about slavery in the South. I don't know a ton about it. And there were little snippets where I'd be like, oh, that's so brilliant, because he made the stories flow really well, especially from one generation to the next, because Cora's grandmother was brought over to the States and became a slave, and then she gave birth to her daughter, who was Cora's mother, who was on this plantation, and then Cora, and it kind of went through the generations really well, but it mainly followed Cora. It was really raw and heartbreaking, but also really true and honest. I think I actually read this one before the Underground Railroad, but it's We Should All Be Feminists by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. This is just a little, like, 50-page speech that Chimamanda gave at a TED Talk once, that has now been printed, and it's just all about feminism, specifically feminism in Nigeria, where Chimamanda is from. This was fantastic, and I actually went and watched her speech afterwards, just because I just needed to, and she's brilliant, and it just, yeah, it was a fantastic look on feminism on a global spectrum, and she just was very insightful and articulate about it all, and like, it was a respectable thing. I just want to like buy dozens of copies of this and just hand them out to everyone, because this is something everyone needs to read, I think, because she does a really good job of relating things going on in Nigeria to things happening in the Western world, so that it makes sense. Like, we know that things are worse in Nigeria, they're worse in the Middle East, but she's also kind of relating it to what's going on in North America or in other westernized countries, and it's just, yeah, it was really brilliant. I just want to read, now she's such a good writer, like, I mean, I've heard that, but I didn't know firsthand, and now I just want to go and buy all of her books and just read them. If you have read Chimamanda's books, which one should I start with? I had planned on reading a couple different books for the rest of this readathon, but then I bought this book partway through and I just had to read it. Born a Crime by Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah hosts The Daily Show, which I haven't watched. This is his memoir about growing up in South Africa, during apartheid especially, being born of a South African mother and a Swiss father, and it follows the struggles that you're growing up not being able to act like his father was his father, and always being lighter than a lot of people and darker than the rest. And it really got me thinking about biracial people and how they must not feel like they fit in anywhere. It was really interesting. A lot of this book was him trying to figure out where he fits. Does he fit in with the darker kids of South Africa? Does he hang out with the, white and Asian kids in South Africa? And so much about his life and growing up in South Africa and the hard times and his mother's abusive marriage to his stepfather, I guess. It was just so good. It touched on so many important topics. It was really brilliantly written. Like, it was funny, it was sassy, it was serious. It was raw. It was really good. Then the readathon ended, so those are the 3 things that I read for that readathon. And then, lastly, the book I've finished most recently is The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian by Sherman Alexie. This was one of the other books that I thought I was going to read during Diversathon, but then it got bumped by Born a Crime. This book has been highly acclaimed, obviously, and it's hugely popular. It's one of the most challenged books ever. I can't even see why. Like, it's not that shocking. It's not that groundbreaking in terms of talking about racism and sex and everything. Like, it's not that serious. So I don't understand, I'll never understand why people challenge books and try to get them banned, honestly. But this is a book, it's kind of autobiographical in a sense. Sherman Alexie, I believe, grew up similarly to how the main character in this book grew up. Follows a boy named Junior who leaves the Spokane reservation that he's grown up on to attend high school in a neighboring farm town where he's the only native kid there, and how the people at the reservation, feel betrayed that he's left and he thinks he's better than them or whatever, and then he doesn't really fit in at the school either because he's just this total other that people don't know how to deal with. And it's just really funny and really sassy and really, it's just devastating and heartbreaking. Like, this poor kid had to go through so much, and I hope that was fictionalized, because I hope Sherman did not go through all these things as a young child, but I imagine a lot of the things that he wrote about were drawing on experience. It's told from the perspective of a 14-year-old boy, obviously, and I think that Sherman did a great job of writing from a 14-year-old boy's perspective, because sometimes when people write teenagers, they either make them really immature and whiny, or they make them too mature, too polished, too poised, too polite. Like, teenagers don't act like that. Some of them do, but not a lot of them. And so Sherman did a great job of bridging the gap. Like, Junior he's learning a lot. He is smart. He is talented. He draws cartoons, and throughout the book it's filled with little cartoons and pictures. He's smart, but he's also learning a lot, and he's also ignorant to a lot of things. Reading these books is really eye-opening to me. Any kind of books that like any of these books, like it's really eye-opening to me. Any of these. I have lived a pretty privileged life. These books have just opened up my mind and really helped me to understand and empathize and want to learn more. That's what I've read so far this year, and I will continue to make these videos when I read more books. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you're having a good day. I've never seen so much snow in my life. Like, just off topic, my window, you can only see out of half of it. There's so much snow piled up on the roof below my window. Like, there has not been this much snow since well before I was born in my area where I live. My family has told me, like, it's unreal. It's up to my waist in some places. So that's just something, real life, I'm dealing with. So much snow, oh my gosh, and I work outside too in the winter. It's not fun. But anyway, that's it. That's where I'm at right now in life, and I will be back soon. Bye! That's Barn of Crime. Barn? I think it was a pretty productive week. I read thinking about Game of Thrones.